A 4-H pilot project in Coupeville in western Washington produced QR codes to be used by visitors equipped with smartphones. This is the story of that project. The project team are all members of the 4HD Video Club based in Island County, and this documentary was made by that team.
Perfect.
That's a good one.
Alright.
That's the Avery one.
Alright.
QR codes are a new form of coding information, similar to the barcodes which people have been seeing in grocery stores for many years. The QR codes are two-dimensional instead of being one-dimensional, so they hold somewhat more information. Often they are used to be scanned by smartphones or iPods or iPads, and can be used to take a person to a particular website where there is a great deal of information stored on that website. Here you see one of the websites that was built by this project.
One of Washington's oldest towns and seat of Island County, Coupeville, is situated on the south side of a sheltered inlet known as Penn Cove on Whidbey Island.
In addition to the movies made for the website, a portion of which you have just seen, pictures and text were generated out of the research that the members performed over several months. Now let's hear from the club's president, Chris Neal.
We were looking for ideas to do documentaries on, and we were kind of at a loss, so we decided to go to Cassia at the Whidbey Examiner for some ideas. And so she came up, she kind of piped up and she said, well, Port Townsend's doing a sort of a QR project for tourism, you know. And so we were like, what the heck is a QR? You know, what the heck's a QR code? And so she's like, well, there's this thing where you scan it with your phone, and then she went on and on and on about it. We thought it was, oh, that's kind of neat. So she had the idea of putting QR codes down at the wharf, and so we kind of just went from there. The wharf, we chose the wharf. We thought that was a good idea because it's pretty much the focal point of Coupeville. The wharf has a lot of history behind it, and so we put QR codes up around there, and we went from there. So the wharf would be kind of a tough subject to tackle because there's so much information behind it. So we had to kind of break this project down into teams. So we came up with 3 teams. One team would do the history of the wharf, everything about the wharf. The second team, the natural history team, would do everything basically around the wharf, what's in the water, what the environment is like around it. And the third team was coding, and that was kind of my job. I was team 3.
Dustin and Avi Sharwat took on the history. Here they are.
The reason why I like history is because it's fascinating to me. I like president history, war history, all different kinds of history. It's very fascinating. I've learned about like Happy Jack and other wharfs and how it was like, and how that was their only way to get to different places before the bridge. The Deception Pass came in 1930, something in the cars and automobiles.
So they had to use ships.
Yes, they had to use steamboats and ships
And canoes.
and canoes.
So how I found out the information is I went online and I found out some stuff from Roger Sherman and I found some stuff about History Link. And I also went to the Coupeville Museum and found some old folders of really old pictures of buildings and the wharf, and we scanned them onto our computer, and after that we cropped them and like fixed them. So then we did all that. Then we went to the library. We found some stuff there too. We just found some books. We picked the books, really old books with old pictures, and so then we looked at a microfiche, and we didn't really find anything there. There's like nothing about the mic. There's just like old pictures like Theodore Roosevelt and all kinds of.
But not of the
stuff.
wharf.
None of the wharf. So we put all the pictures in Keynote, and we picked the ones that we wanted best. So we put them in the right order that we wanted them to. So then we put the text in. Then that's the way it was going to go. And then we put them. So in order to make the text into narration, I did Audacity, and I did Audacity for make the narrations, and I had to like practice sometimes because I'll sometimes get the stuff wrong.
Okay.
In this scene, Happy Jack's wharf is on the left, and the U-shaped wharf is on the right. The U-shaped wharf had the advantage that horse and wagon teams did not have to reverse. Great. Wait. Oh, I'll just silence. One of the early purposes for the wharf was to also supply fuel for the steamboats.
Okay. So save it. Oh, do you want to do any editing
One
on
of
it
the
first?
early purposes for the wharf
Oh, yeah,
was
you
to
can
also
click at the end.
supply fuel for the steamboats.
Sounds good. Just hit that click out at the end.
That's what I do. I just cut and delete. What? Yeah, so then we put my narrations into iTunes. Then iTunes is already in iMovie. So then we put the pictures in the right order first in iMovie. Then we put my narrations in, and we put them in all different kinds of orders and everything. And then when we finished it, it didn't sound very good because, I don't know, we wanted to make it sound better. So we put music in it. So me and my brother, we put music in it, played some tunes. So we did that. But after that, the music was overpowering my voice. So then we had to duck my music tune so they wouldn't drain my narrations.
And then you put titles and...
And we put the title and the credits, that stuff.
You don't want to be in there at all. You've got to hit... Yeah, go up here to where the camera is. There, right. Now, we need to know which one is like...
We chose Spilling Tunes because it reminded us of that time period.
Great.
1, 2, 3, go.
Genoa Spratt, who would like to be a marine biologist one day, took on the job of doing natural history. Here he is.
I was interested doing the natural history part of it because I've always loved marine biology and marine wildlife and stuff. So I guess it just fit in with me. I guess it filled the puzzle piece, I guess you could call it.
Okay. Then let's talk about how you went about doing research on it.
I started Googling stuff like a flat-top sea squirt or a blunt-nosed six-gill shark, for instance. And the websites I used were Wikipedia, Washington State University, and the storyboard. I used Keynote, and I just surfed the internet for good pictures. And then I stumbled upon Wikipedia, which is actually really good for getting all the text and everything you need. I pulled off all the text and then I changed it to what I wanted. So I had a rough draft to work with. And then I used a format on Keynote called Pushin', which I then pushed the text, sized it up, and put my pictures around the text or inside of it. And then moved the text around it so it would fit. And that's how I built my storyboard. The way I turned that into a movie is I ran it all together into iMovie, and I would run the track with the pictures, and then just hit the button and go and play the movie. Once I had my storyboard down, I would put it into iMovie. Then I used GarageBand for my, I had written text up above for Keynote for my storyboard, which then I had both programs running, and I read off the storyboard for my narration, which I used GarageBand. And then once I had that, I transferred it to iMovie as well and ran everything together.
I'm working on my encyclopedia for 4-H. It's about natural history and all the creatures that live in the sound below the wharf. I actually really enjoy this stuff.
A large part of this project involved doing the research on various aspects of the wharf.
Now let's see what it looks like.
A good deal of time was spent on the internet, finding out various facts, looking for different pictures or illustrations, or in some cases even bits of movie clip that could be used to explain what happens around the wharf. Also, there's a great deal of time spent with books and talking to various people.
There are 3 marine mammal exhibits on display at the wharf. One is a gray whale named Rosie, the other is a Dall's porpoise, and the last one is a stellar sea lion.
The Coupeville Wharf
Here's a
was
small
used for
portion
main
of a movie
storage
clip
and
that was
even a
made by
ferry dock, but
Genoa.
now it is a
This
natural
movie clip
history
now is
museum,
part of
restaurant,
the
and gift
website,
shop. There
which
are
this
3
QR will
marine
point
mammal
to.
exhibits on display at the wharf. One is a gray whale named Rosie. The other one is a Dall's porpoise, and the last one is a stellar sea lion. At low tide on the piers that support the wharf, you can find many marine creatures, such as red rock and Dungeness crabs, barnacles, mollusks, limpets, bull kelp, and even a flat-top.
That movie was embedded into the website. Here we see the website being used to go to various sections. Let's take a look at the section all about whales. Fish and seafood are abundant in Penn Cove. It was decided that we should give some information about the fishing. Here's Genoa.
I built a 4-H fishing guide. My dad said that tourists would really like to know what they could fish for and where, when, and why. So I guess he really wanted to see that, because whenever we go places, he wants to know, what can I fish for? So then I started putting together a fishing guide, which I used Fish and Wildlife for that, and I used kind of the same process. I took pictures and links and got most of my information. I typed it out onto Keynote, and I built basically a website kind of format that could be put onto the Port of Coupeville website as well. Okay, I also did another project on a orca whale named Lolita. She was kidnapped at age 4 from the Penn Cove and sold to the Miami Sea Aquarium for $20,000.
Putting the movies, pictures, and data into websites requires computer programming skills in HTML, JavaScript, and PHP. Fortunately, one of the team members is an expert. Here's Chris.
So for all this, for these QR codes, they had to have some place to go. So we decided to come up with a website. We have to make a website to put all this content on. So we asked Jim Patton if we could sort of rent some space on the Port of Coupeville .org, and he said that was a great idea. So we went for that, and so teams 1 and 2, the history and the natural history, would get their information and pictures and all their media together and their videos that they did and send them to me and Robert, and we would put that information together in different web pages and then make different QR codes for those web pages and put them together in one section of the Port of Coupeville that you can visit on your computer at home right now if you wanted to. So to generate these QR codes, we had to buy a piece of software called iBarcoder, and it's on the Mac. And so we'd put in a URL, and iBarcoder would generate a QR code that would take us to that URL, that web page, and the user would scan their. Oh yeah, we framed them, and we hung them up on different places in the wharf.
6 QR codes were constructed, each connected to a different page of the Port of Coupeville website. Each were then printed onto quality cards and then placed into frames. You may want to look at the other side and make sure it's the right way up. Here we see the frames being assembled with their cards being made ready to be hung up in the foyer of the wharf. Put them together in the middle. Yeah, right, like, isn't that pretty? The executive director of the Port of Coupeville, Jim Patton, seen here on the left, supervised placement of the plaques. First, an information sheet was added to the kiosk at the entrance of the wharf. After reviewing the safety procedures of using electric tools, we commenced to hang the plaques.
So we gotta rig that.
Here's the screw. About 2 millimeters short. There you go.
Just hook it up. That's a good boy. All right. Fire away. Let's go in first.
A bit more.
Yep, good. That's good. All right, now let's try that. Perfect.
That's a good one.
All right.
Alright, that's the Avery one.
All right.
There's one installed on the frame of the door of the shop. And here's another by the biology exhibit. Now any smartphone or tablet installed with QR reading software is able to decode these QRs and take us straight to the website that is pointing towards. Here we see the website again. This is the history page from the website.
One of Washington's oldest towns and seat of Island County, Coupeville, is situated on the south side of a sheltered inlet known as Penn Cove on Whidbey Island.
A job well done.